Welcome to StarCast, which is a potential name for this podcast here with the Kansas City Star. I'm here with Sam Mellinger. We are outside Minute Maid Park. We needed somewhere quiet, so we found the smoker's deck. You know what else is smoking, Sam?
The Astros bullpen.
That's right. It's still a heap of ashes after what the Royals did to them in Game 4 of the ALDS. Really, you know, we covered the wild card game last year against the A's.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a long night. This, thankfully, was a day game.
That was outstanding.
I've never been happier for a noon start time. I mean, yeah, so to rescue the season, obviously, you know, people are going to want to talk about comparing this to last year's game. For me, I don't know if it's more impressive. I mean, it's certainly as impressive. It's an incredible victory. They made it look easy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I thought, okay, so I think what they did tonight, like, if we're going degree of difficulty, may have been a little bit more. I think the Astros are a better team than that A's team was. I think the A's team was just fading in the second half. A lot of those guys were probably ready to go home. We now know about John Lester and not being able to throw to first and stuff like that. But last year was like, to me, you can't replicate sort of the context and everything. Like, that was a blast. That was, you know, you wrote this in one of your stories. I forgot which one, but you said like every playoff game last year felt like a gift.
Yeah.
And this year there is a different feeling. This is a team with expectations. If they don't make the World Series, they're going to be really, really disappointed.
Right. Well, but you know, to come back off Lester, like, it was like there was bunting and stolen bases and all sorts of up and down, and this was just base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit. We are a better team than you.
It was wild.
It was like seeing just them exert their will and just remind. I mean, it's like the difference between the two teams. Like, last year it was like frenetic, and this year it was just like, nah, we're just better.
Yeah.
We're going to put together our best at bats now, and we're going to be productive. They got, you know, they benefited from Carlos Correa making
that was a huge play.
That was a tough play. I don't think they turn two there. Maybe he does.
Morales is running.
It's a tough play for a guy to make, especially with the carom. I mean, and either way, if they turn two, you know, they still got one run in. And
no, for sure. It was a tough play. I'm not saying Correa just like screwed up, but I think that was going to be a
it's a huge turning point. But
I think they would have turned two. I mean,
maybe.
No,
I don't know.
We'll never know. It doesn't matter.
I haven't watched the replay. I wasn't even watching the game. I was ready. So that to me is the interesting thing, though, is like it lacks the sort of it was like they remembered who they were all of a sudden, and they've been dormant for 4 games. They've been the second best team on the field.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, facing 3 pretty good relievers, they just put together this great string of at-bats, and it wasn't even surprised. Like, well, I said this earlier. You know, once Eric Hosmer got that single off Tony Sipp, or was that Harris? I'm trying to remember.
It was Sipp.
It was Sipp.
Yeah.
Right?
Lefty.
Yeah. So Sipp comes in to get Hosmer. Hosmer's been just ass all series.
Literally ass in that hit that he had that one game too.
Hopefully this doesn't get bleeped, but you know, he's been brutal, and he knew this. And instead of coming up there and trying to hit a 6-run home run, he just, you know, he goes for a couple fastballs, he lays off a couple sliders, he gets a fastball in the zone and just punches it into right. And it's
I think some of that, you said without trying to hit a 6-run home run, I think there was some of that with him when he comes into that at-bat 1 for 15.
Yeah.
And his one hit is that ass out, you know. Yeah. And I don't think it's a total coincidence that he got that strong single in the 8th, and then in the 9th just crushes this ball into the burning tire fire of the Astros bullpen.
Oh, man.
But
somewhere Brad Lidge is going like, man, tough one for the bullpen there.
I do wonder, like, and there's no way to know this, and this is one of those, like, maybe dumb sports writer things, but, like, you know, last year, that wild card game, there's no way that you could be around that and not believe that there was something unleashed.
Sure.
You know, that happened in Anaheim and then in Baltimore and all that stuff. And you do wonder, after, like you mentioned, kind of sleepwalking. That's probably not exactly the right term, but just not being a good team.
Not playing the way they had played all year long.
Like, you do wonder, like, maybe this is their moment.
But also, like, we were both there last year. That wasn't a very good baseball team for large portions of the season.
Very, very flawed.
This was a good baseball team from day one to now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know necessarily if this is a release of any sort of demons, or if this is sort of an exorcism or anything like that, or it was just a very good baseball team playing like a very good baseball team, and that's why Game 5. You can't just assume that they're gonna walk. Because you've got their shakiest of their 3 starters on the mound.
Isn't that crazy?
It is and it isn't. We've watched him for weeks struggle.
Right, but the fact that like on July 20th or whatever it was, if you're going to be shaky with Johnny Cueto, but one thing too, like all the attention is going to go to the top of the 8th today, and I get that, that's where it should be, but the bottom of the 8th was pretty boss too. Wade Davis comes in, he needed 7 pitches to get out of that, and what'd you say the Astros needed?
The Astros needed 4. Wade Davis, one man, did what 4 Astros relievers could not, which is get 6 outs without incident. And we talk about this all the time, how much the Royals having these guys in the back end, makes it easier. And having Wade Davis able to go get 6 outs, if they could theoretically do that in Game 5, you can't do that every game. But if you can do that in every elimination game, that is a weapon that really no other team has that I can think of. No one has a guy who can go get, who's just a monster and can rebound like that.
Yeah, the Yankees had 2 guys at the back that you had faith in, and Betances got hit around.
But they're out.
Right.
The Blue Jays don't have that guy. The Rangers don't have that guy.
Not even close.
Maybe Trevor Rosenthal can do that for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Mets, maybe Yuri's Familia, but probably not. No one who, with that degree of certainty, you can put in and say, we're going to be fine. He could go get 9 outs.
Yeah.
He's built, he's big enough, he's strong enough to go do that. And so it's sort of like releasing this monster out into the wild that they really didn't have last year, because Greg Holland was great, but he was pitching with a torn UCL, which explains why he couldn't get multiple innings last year.
And it's not just, I know that, Madsen's, we already talked about this, got lit up in the 7th inning, but he's been good enough that, I think you're going to trust him going out again.
Sure. And if you don't trust him, go send Kelvin Herrera out there.
Right. And they didn't even throw Duffy today either.
And Madsen getting hit, it sucks for Madsen. He's been a great story and a better pitcher for them this year. But the Astros are also really good. Carlos Correa, people are going to talk about
he is good.
They're going to talk about the error, but my God, he's a good player.
He's unbelievable. The talent, that double, I know that pitch was pretty much down the middle, the double down the line, right? But to take Ventura opposite field like that with the line drive right down the line, he's just like... he's Alex Rodriguez of 1994.
He's 21 years old. He's a 21-year-old monster. So that's why, when we talk about Game 5, you think about Johnny Cueto going to face these guys, it's like, I don't know if the momentum from this, like, the saying is what it is for a reason, Momentum is only as good as that day's starting pitcher.
Right.
That's why. It's all about Cueto.
And in the first inning of Game 2, Johnny Cueto did not have any momentum. Except for his shimmy pitch getting knocked over the wall. But I do think, one thing that they have going for them, we talked about the back end of the bullpen. Potentially you get 6 outs out of Davis, and even if you just say 3 and 3 from Madsen and Herrera, you got Duffy and Chris Young.
You've got Chris Young.
And I don't know what the weather's going to be like on Wednesday, but if it's cold, that's a big part. That's exactly that's his time.
If you are the Royals, if you're Ned Yost, Dave Island, Dayton Moore, I would think they would have to, and maybe we overrate Chris Young, because we've seen, we look at the things he can do, and he's so smart, and he seems just so much further ahead of other people when it comes to talking about pitching and things like that. Maybe we overrate him because of this, but to me, if Johnny Cueto is in a serious bind early in Game 5, I think you have to go to Chris Young, and you have to go to Chris Young aggressively. And I'm talking second or third inning.
Yeah.
Like, not fourth or fifth. I'm talking if Cueto. I do think it sends a psychic message to your team, which sometimes can be negative to have that quick of a hook. But if there's a guy who can pitch well against this lineup, the Astros lineup, in the Royals Park, it's Chris Young. I mean, you saw it the other night. He struck out 7, coming in cold out of the rain delay. And I think that's a really important factor for the Royals that gives them an out if Cueto is struggling. But it's up to the Royals to actually deploy that guy.
But, right, it is for sure. But I think they will. I think they will be aggressive. I mean, there's been times that I think Ned hasn't managed with a whole lot of urgency in this series. There's been, we talked about, the other day with some of the pitching, decisions that he made. But in an elimination game, a double, a winner take all, sort of thing like that. They're negligent. If Cueto is bases loaded with 1 out in the second, or bases loaded 1 out in the fourth, and you
should bring in Kelvin Herrera.
Yeah,
honestly, you should bring in Kelvin Herrera, have him get through, and that's what it's going to be. It's about being creative, and it's about deploying your assets in the best way. And that there's people within the Royals organization who could map out contingency plans for each, for each emergency, but it's about actually, executing.
Yeah.
And so I'd be curious to see what they do. And look, Johnny Cueto's got a ton of talent.
Sure.
He's got a lot riding on the line. He could go out and throw 7 scoreless innings. That's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm very curious to see how the Astros, if they have any energy or if they're totally, destroyed after this one. It could go either way. It's baseball. Who the hell knows? But the Royals, like we said, we've talked about this from the beginning. Royals have more talent than the Astros. Yeah. They have more talent in every phase of the game. It's about whether they can access that talent and execute in the high leverage spots. And they did that in Game 2. They did that in Game 4. They didn't do it in Game 1. They didn't do it in Game 3. And that's really all it comes down to. There's nothing else going on besides that.
And there's no, I wrote this line in my column today that baseball is our most measurable sport, and it's also the most unpredictable.
Right.
And in a one-game situation like that, we can talk as much as we want about Wade Davis, and he is an alien, but it's still, pretty close to a coin flip whenever 2 good baseball teams are playing each other.
Pretty much, yeah. So we should just flip a coin now and then figure out if we're going to go to Toronto or not.
Yeah.
Or Texas. Probably Toronto.
Yep.
Does anyone know why David Price was pitching today?
That was weird, right?
Maybe by the time this podcast is posted, there will be an explanation that doesn't make my head hurt.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they just pitched Wade Davis, or David Price. What's the difference?
Yeah.
They treated David Price like Wade Davis when David Price could start Game 5?
I don't know. I'm curious to see what happened there.
What?
But I don't know. In the meantime.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening. If you got all the way to the end. Crazy game. You can read all about it in the page of the Kansas City Star, kansascity.com, and our True Blue app. Have a good night.
Love you guys.